Okay, I tried filming this video so many times sitting down because it's more comfortable for me because I'm not feeling well. It's just not working out though. So today we're going to review the 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth by Dolores Cannon. It's not part of the Convoluted Universe series, but to me it was, because it's basically like the same stuff that's talked about in the books in the series. I don't know why I felt like I had to move out of frame. But, okay. So there is so much information to cover, and I'm probably going to be drinking water when I get tired of talking. But I just finished it yesterday and it was amazing, and I recommend that you just pick up the book and read it. If you don't get enough information from this video is going to have so much information. I'm going to get so tired of talking, but I feel like it's important to spread the message of this because I believe in it. I think it's important, and if you don't want to believe in it, then that's fine. That's your choice. Just have an open mind, and I'm basically going to be reading straight from the book, like if the author wrote it, the way I'm saying it. But there is some things that I edited to make it sound more like me. But if you hear me say things like my client or my research, it's not me I'm talking about. It's literally me reading verbatim from the book. And I also wore this contrasting shirt to symbolize 3D and 5D. And I think 3D would be black, to be honest, because 5D, it's more like light and dark combined, like equally. Sorry, I'm just gonna drink some water already. My intention with this video is to help you understand what's going on with the vibrational shifts in the earth, in the universe, and I think what I'm going through right now, I'm not going to talk about it, but I think what I'm going through right now is potentially a very unique symptom of going from 3D to 5D. I hope that's what it is. I don't even know what it is that I have yet, but it's not an infection, just so you know. I just hope it's like not something serious that's wrong with me. But okay, sorry, I am just sidetracking so much and there's so much to get into. Okay, I'm just gonna start. When life was beginning to develop nicely on Earth, a meteorite hit the Earth and brought bacteria that caused disease. This was the first time that disease was introduced to the Earth. And when this happened, the beings that were overseeing Earth's evolution went back to the council, and they asked what to do now since their experiment went wrong. And so instead of destroying everything, because so much time was already invested in creating Earth, the council decided to let it go ahead and continue to develop. They knew, though, that life on Earth would never be perfect as it was originally planned to be. And then what I don't understand is, why are they making it seem like this meteorite full of bacteria which came from who knows where? Why are they making it sound like it was a mistake that this happened? We already know that there are no mistakes in the universe. So why make it sound like it was a mistake in the first place? Okay, fast forward to 1945, in which at the end of World War II, we dropped an atomic bomb. The extra dimensionals really were like, okay, great, now we really have to babysit this race of humans because who knows what they'll do with atomic power. And remember, our planet cannot be destroyed, because if it does, like explode or whatever, it'll have a catastrophic ripple effect to the entire universe. So the council came up with the idea that since they can't interfere with our free will, why not help from the inside, right? And so it's not interfering when you ask for volunteers to come in and help. This is how the 3 waves began of humans to come volunteer and help ascend the Earth and its people. Jesus and all these other prophets had come to Earth to teach people to get off the wheel of karma and to evolve, but we kept making the same mistakes, which kept us in low density and also kept us stuck in the wheel of karma. So since the humans on Earth weren't going to evolve and save Earth, there was a huge calling for pure souls who were not caught in karma to come to Earth and help the Earth ascend. These souls are mainly ones that have only existed in other dimensions and realities, but have never manifested in a physical body before. These volunteers come into the Earth density with a sheath of protection to protect them from accumulating karma. And the reason they have this sheath is because if you start accumulating karma, you have to keep being reborn again and again on this earth plane to repay it off. But the volunteers are here for a one-time life and out of here. The purpose of the 3 waves of volunteers is 1, to change the energy of the earth so it can avoid catastrophe, and 2, to help raise the energy of the people so that they can ascend with the earth into the 5th dimension. So the first wave would be in their 40s or 60s, the second wave would be in their late 20s and 30s, and the third wave would be in their teens. And since all of this information was published in 2011 from this book, I would say add 10 years to those numbers. So I think I would totally be a third wave since I was a teenager in 2011 and I'm 23 years old now. There are many different types of councils. So throughout the Convoluted Universe series, we saw that there is a lot of people that would go to a council to review their life right after their physical body died. There are councils over the solar system, over the galaxy, and over the universe. There are definite rules and regulations that help keep everything running in proper order, so nothing is left to chance. And there are also councils on the spirit side that have other types of jobs taking care of the records of those living on Earth. All of these councils seem to have a great interest in the accumulation of knowledge and information, and it's a great thing that someone is taking care of all of these things, otherwise there'd be total chaos. So the majority of people don't realize that everyone goes out of their body every night. The body becomes tired and has to sleep, but the real you, your spirit, never gets tired. It would get awfully boring waiting around for the body to wake up so it could continue with its life. So while you think you are asleep, the real part of you is going anywhere it wants to go, having all types of adventures, flying all over the world, returning to the spirit side for more instructions, and exploring other planets and dimensions. And many are doing important work at night when they think they are asleep. You don't have to worry about becoming lost in the astral realms because you are always connected by a silver cord, which does not sever until the death of your physical body. When it is time to return to the body in the morning and wake up, the cord is reeled in so you can return to your life oblivious of the adventures the real part of you has experienced. And seeing is not necessarily believing. We talked about this in the Custodians video. There's so many cases from that book, The Custodians, where the client would consciously remember one thing, but in reality, after going through hypnosis, it was something completely different, and those were called screen memories. There's a case in this book, The 3 Waves, where a client swims with the dolphins a lot, but in reality, they're her alien friends disguised as dolphins. That's what she was able to find out through hypnosis. So just because you see something that would appear to be true or normal in your conscious memory isn't always what you think it is. So our DNA has been changing for a while because the planet is changing as well as everything else. And it has to change to hold the energy and to hold the frequencies that are coming in. And some people can't handle it, so they leave, or what you would call die. The ones that stay are adjusting their frequencies, and their DNA is changing to adjust. So I have to say too, really quick, it's not that the DNA, it's not that the extra dimensionals are changing your DNA, but the energies that are coming into the planet are changing your DNA. They're helping you in increments, basically, to help you adjust to the 5D frequencies, because if it happened all at once, it would literally make the matrix of the body like dissolve. So they have to do it in like a gradual way. So you can sometimes feel this in your spine, and it's not your kundalini, it's actually the DNA. So when things are changing, we'll feel vibrations in the body, and sometimes headaches as we adjust, and backaches as well, which I'm suffering through as one of my symptoms. They'll go away though, and as we become more and more adjusted to the frequencies, they're going to stop. One of the beings was saying that the chemicals from the human world is leaking into other universes and other dimensions and destroying planets from the gaseous chemicals. And we humans think that these chemicals that we use stay within our planet, but they don't. And these beings are frustrated that they have to go help tons of other beings on these other planets that are getting destroyed by us when they have other things to be doing. They don't mention any planets being dissolved in our universe, but other universes and other dimensions is what they mentioned. Okay. I have had other cases which are reported in my other books where the person saw their alien body being preserved and tended in a type of cylinder or container. In some of these cases, that other body is being kept alive in some form of suspended animation while the soul journeys to Earth to experience the human body. It is kept there so that when the temporary life on Earth is finished, the soul can return to the craft and continue its life there. I've had many clients observe this and feel an identification with the body in the cylinder. The soul, or ET, has agreed to come and help the Earth in time of need, but it doesn't want to stay here. It really wants to continue its life on the craft because that is how far it has advanced. Besides, Earth is a hectic place to live, and they do not wish to stay. Another reason for being protected, so they will not accumulate karma, because karma will require that they remain in the Earth cycle. It is very courageous and brave for a pure or advanced soul to volunteer to come because it is exposing itself to a very danger of being trapped here. Let's see this one. Okay. This would explain why the energy of the soul must be adjusted and the energy of the mother before the soul can enter. Sometimes only a small portion, trying to get the angle right. Sometimes only a small portion of the soul can enter at the beginning because it would be too much for the body. This often causes spontaneous abortion of the fetus because the energy is too strong. As the child grows, more bits of the entire soul can be allowed to integrate. Thus, the body of the volunteer is put to sleep and monitored as it awaits the completion of its mission. A silver cord has been seen connecting the soul to the body in the cylinder. I know that we have a cord that connects us to this physical body, and this cord severs at death. So this would mean that because we have many bodies all living at the same time, all of our simultaneous lives, past, present, future, we must have multiple silver cords connecting those splinters back to the main soul. In some of my other books, this has been seen as a main source with something resembling tentacles going in all directions. The ET body on the craft is intended to stay alive so the soul can return. Sometimes life support has been seen going through tubes which look like pulsing lights or energy. It is also a way of passing the abilities of the ET in suspended animation into our time frame. Other ETs have been observed going about their work on spacecrafts and not put into suspended animation, while a splinter or part of them journeys to the Earth as a volunteer and lives life in a human body. This type can continue its life and is essentially in two places at once. This goes along with the idea that we are living many lifetimes simultaneously, yet each part is not consciously aware of the other. Since they understand more about what is going on in this process, they are aware of that part of their soul that is living on Earth, although the earthly counterpart is unaware. It was thought that the human especially should not be aware because the concepts are too difficult for the human mind to assimilate. Yet, as the veil is thinning, more knowledge is seeping in, and they are being allowed to glimpse what the subconscious thinks they are able to handle. Gets complicated, doesn't it? When our human life was created on this planet, it was decided to give this beautiful place a creature with intelligence and free will to see what he could do with it. There are very few planets in the universe that were allowed free will. I have explored some of these in my other books, but another rule was the prime directive of non-interference. This is often spoken of in the Star Trek series, but it's not fiction. It is very real and carefully followed by all the space people. This means they are not allowed to interfere with the development of a civilization. They have said that there was only one exception to this rule, And that was if the civilization were to get to the point that it could destroy this planet. Then they were allowed to step in and stop it, because if we were to do something like that, it had reverberations throughout the galaxy. Who would think that such a small planet as Earth would have this type of influence? We are a small planet, and we are deliberately isolated and quarantined here in our little corner of the solar system. They are afraid of us, afraid of what we could do with our violence. This is the main reason they have been watching us for so many eons. The reverberations could spread throughout the solar system, the galaxy, and even into other dimensions where we would be interfering and destroying our other civilizations unknown to us. The consequences would be horrifying. We know now that this was the reason for sending pure souls as volunteers to help Earth at this time to keep this from happening. Okay, I know now through my work that many civilizations down through time have been destroyed. They have told me that each time they had reached the peak of intellectual knowledge and had perfected their minds to the point that they could do marvelous things. But in each circumstance, including Atlantis, the people had abused their powers and began to do things that were for greed and power rather than the betterment of the people. So instead of service to others, they began to be service to self. In the case of Atlantis, we know they had been using their crystals for extreme power. They were also going against the laws of nature by using genetic manipulation to combine and create half man, half animal beings. They were definitely overstepping their boundaries, but as my daughter Julia observed, they were still just exercising their free will. It didn't make sense to her that they had to destroy that civilization. Sorry. She said, after all, a rule is a rule. She's very strict about obeying the rules and knows they were made for a reason. So the Atlanteans were doing things they should not have done, but they had not put the planet in danger of blowing up. True, the crystals were powerful and not being used correctly, but where was the dangerous threat that made them decide to take down the entire civilization? That was the missing piece that I had not thought of until she brought it up. Now it became obvious. The Atlanteans had reached the same point we are at right now in our time. They were experimenting with dark matter, and they did not know that the repercussions could backfire and destroy this entire planet. So this was why they, the council, had to go against the prime directive. This had been done so many times throughout history of our Earth that they didn't want to have to do it again. Each time the abilities had to be taken away and civilization had to be rebuilt from a primitive state, and much time and technology was lost as mankind climbed back up. This present time, they didn't want to go down that route again, so in order to keep it from happening again, the call went out for the volunteers to come and help the planet Earth. The council said that we will notice the physical effects more as the frequencies and vibrations increase. Many of us can sense on another level of our being that something is happening. With the changes, wow, I just cannot find the angle. With the changes subtly going on around us, our physical bodies must also change in order to adjust. Some of these physical symptoms are unpleasant and cause concern. You will see and notice that as the frequency of the planet continues to raise in terms of its vibration, you will have less difficulty with symptoms of energy blockages. Throughout my work, my subjects are being told that they must change their diet in order to make the adjustment into the new world. Our bodies must become lighter, and this means the elimination of heavy foods. So during the sessions, my clients are warned repeatedly to stop eating meats like beef and pork especially, because of the additives and chemicals that are being fed to these animals. And they said they deposit chemicals and artificial components into our organs that will remain there for as long as 6 months. It is extremely difficult to filter these and remove them from the body. We were especially cautioned against eating animal protein and fried foods, which act as an irritant to the body. And we know that fried foods also cause a lot of inflammation to the body, and that's not good. So these act as aggravators to your system. after many years of misuse. We do not mean to be judgmental, but the body is built for a certain type of vehicular traffic. The body cannot ascend in frequency to higher dimensional realms if the density and the toxins are polluting the environment of the human body. Of course, if you're lucky enough to find organic meats that do not contain toxins, that would be safe in moderation. Chicken is always better than fish because they are lighter meats, but the best is actually just live fruits and vegetables. This means those that are eaten raw rather than cooked. So raw vegetables, not cooked vegetables. I know that kind of takes a lot of the fun away because maybe cooking it and seasoning it makes the taste better sometimes, but it's very important to get on that raw vegetable and fruit diet. We were also cautioned about the elimination of sugar and the consumption of more pure bottled water and fruit juices that contain no sugar. Eventually, as the frequency and vibration continues to increase, we will adapt to a liquid diet. The body must become lighter in order to make the ascension, as the energies on the planet continue to become... Oh, I cut it off. Oh well, it wasn't important. That's fine. That's why I didn't continue it. Okay, from an email sent to me from an unknown source. Time is actually speeding up. So someone sent this to Dolores as an email. Time is actually speeding up, or collapsing, you could say. For thousands of years, the Schumann resonance or pulse of the Earth has been 7.83 cycles per second. The military have used this as a very reliable reference. However, since 1980, this resonance has been slowly rising. It is now over 12 cycles per second, which means there is the equivalent of less than 16 hours per day instead of the old 24 hours. One of the indications that the frequency and vibration is occurring is the speeding up and shortening of time. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how it is October 26th right now. It feels like it was just March the other day. I don't know how like an entire year went by of us just being at home and like quarantined or whatever. It just like went by so fast. Like the days themselves, I feel like they go by so fast too. Like an hour feels more like 40 minutes to me, or like 30 minutes sometimes. It's just like crazy. Okay. So one of the clients actually traveled in her session to the year 2325, where the surface of the earth was no longer habitable. Humans will no longer be. They will be hybridized with the gray beings. These are what I believe are called the Ascension. That's what I'm saying, not Dolores. Which leads to the theory that the grays are us in the future, and they've come back in time to help us not make the same mistakes that they did in their timeline. The atmosphere of Earth has been changed to a poisonous gas that we can't exist in, so we live underground. The only way to go above ground is to wear a type of suit, and some clients that travel into the future see themselves living on board orbiting spaceships where they grow food in hydroponic conditions in the absence of gravity. They do this because the Earth needs food and it will not grow on the surface anymore from how contaminated it is. Some have seen themselves also in an underwater laboratory where they harvest food from the sea so the people of Earth can have food. Okay, so the remainder of the video is going to be all about the new Earth and like the symptoms and just everything about the new Earth. Okay, so don't get caught up with what's going to happen, because you have to focus on the light. That's going to be the challenge for the people in the new Earth. The challenge for them is to not get caught up in anything that's going to happen, because that's what pulls us back into the third dimension. Many people who were on a path forward were pulled back because they got caught up in fear and sadness and regret. So, let's see. Sorry. Where was I? Okay, so focus on the good stuff and the fact that there is going to be this beautiful new existence, new dimension that many people on Earth are going to move into, who are already moving into. And also the majority will not be moving into the new Earth because they'll be choosing not to awaken. And that's their choice, and we have to respect that. The more people that can awaken, the more there'll be. Everybody you speak to goes out and does it as well, and you may not be aware of it, but you yourself are acting like Christ as a light worker. Everyone you speak to becomes a disciple, and they go out and they in turn awaken other people. All you need to do is focus here, the body, creating your heaven on earth. Each human being creating their own heaven on earth. That's all you have to do. And coming together with others who are creating their own heaven on earth, and then expanding that energy out. And before you know it, you've changed the world. You don't even think about the world. What you focus on is what you create. Think about peace. The main thing people have to understand is that what they focus on expands. Hopefully we all know this by now. So if they can replace predictions with something that is wonderful that they want and expand that, then they can create their own heaven on earth. People are always asking, what do I have to do to move to the new earth? The extra dimensionals have said that there are two important things that you need to let go of. And one is fear, because fear is an illusion, yet it is the strongest emotion that a human has. It must be released or it will hold you down to this old earth. I tell people to ask lots and lots of questions. Don't believe everything you hear or read. Think for yourself. Come on, guys, use your critical thinking skills, and I'm talking about the news. Don't give your power away to anyone. Make up your own mind and discover your own truth. It may not be my truth, but it will be yours because you have discovered it. And then don't be surprised if that truth changes. We are constantly learning, so stay flexible. Don't let fear cloud your judgment so that you can't think for yourself. Okay, I need water. I don't know if I'm gonna edit this part out, but I need water. I'm thirsty, more than usual. Okay. It's just so much reading. The second thing you must let go of is karma. We accumulate karma through living many, many lifetimes on earth, often with the same people repeating the same mistakes. This is why it's called the wheel of karma. It just goes round and round and holds you down to the pattern. I call karma the baggage and the garbage of what we carry around with us. You must get rid of this junk so that you can ascend. We all have bad things that happen in our lives. That's what life is all about. I have found that we agree to these events and things in order to learn from them. I ask people when they tell me their bad experiences, did you learn anything from it? If you learned even just one thing from it, then that was the reason that you experienced it. If they say they did not learn anything from it, then guess what? You're gonna have to experience it all over again until you understand what it was trying to tell you. They have to repeat that grade in school. You can't go from kindergarten to college. So go over your life. What are you holding on to? What haven't you let go of? It no longer matters if you were mistreated or abused as a child, but what did you learn? It doesn't matter if you had a horrible marriage. Let it go. Some of my clients have said, I can't let it go. You don't know what they did to me. It's not hurting anyone but yourself by holding on to this karma and creating more by not releasing it with love. In order to ascend into the new earth, you have to let all your baggage go. You have to forgive, or you will have to stay with the old earth and go through it all again, and nobody wants that. That is how the law of karma works. Is that what you want? During my lectures, I give the people an exercise that they can use to release karma. You can't speak to the person face to face. That's too difficult to do, but you can if you want. Besides, sometimes the person you're angry with has died and it's impossible to face them. Unless you were to like speak to their ghosts or something. Remember that when you were on the spirit side, you made a plan of what you hoped to accomplish in this life. You made contracts with various souls to play various parts in your scenario on earth. Some of your greatest enemies or challenges during your life right now are your greatest friends on the spirit side. They volunteered to come and play the villain in this earthly scenario, and some of them play their parts very well. So picture the person in your mind standing in front of you. Say to them, we tried. We really tried. It's not working, and I am tearing up the contract. And See yourself tearing up the contract and throwing it away, and then say to them, I forgive you, I release you, I let you go. You go your way with love, and I'll go mine. We don't have to be connected anymore. And just visualize it happening, like ties being cut off or cords being cut off. The key here is to have intention and to really mean it when you say it. You have to believe it as well. Once you have done that, they will have no power over you anymore. Then you have to forgive yourself. Remember, it always takes two people to create a situation. None of this is easy, but it is essential and imperative if you want to get off this wheel of karma and ascend into the new earth. It's up to you. Let's see. Okay. Most planets, but especially this one, was only designed originally for 550,000 people, 500,000 people. That was as large as it was supposed to go. More people are reincarnating here to experience all these major changes, and the Earth has been damaged and changed beyond the capability to repair it. This planet has been unfortunately changed in such ways that there's no sense of return whatsoever to its original pristine condition. But now, because of the prime directive from the Creator, this has to accelerate. Because it's been too long. There are two ways to do this. You can cause the planet to rotate and the Earth crust to shift. And you literally, when that happens, start all over again from ground zero. That's what touched off the Ice Age and killed all the dinosaurs. It doesn't matter how it happened, but basically it did the same thing. A civilization disappears and you start off with the Ice Age and Neanderthal man and all that kind of good stuff all happens again. You lose control of your entire civilization and you end up as a legend like Atlantis and Lemuria did. This has all happened many times before, but that's not what's going to happen this time. This time, you're going to shift as a planet. And basically, as a universe, you shift the entire dimension. The dimension changes. You go from 3.6, which is what we are at now, to fifth dimension. And if you're wondering what happens to the fourth dimension, well, 4 is sort of here in a way, but it's just going to jump it. And so you're going to end up as 5. And when the dimensional change comes, you will literally jump that. There's a lot of complications with this, and this is why it's being watched so carefully by everyone. Many people who are spiritually ready will be able to make the transition easier, and people that are on liquid diets as well, or eating lighter than most people. Others are literally going to be taken off the planet in the flick of an eyelid. They won't even know it's happened, most of them. And they will end up on another planet that's pristine, ready, and waiting for this to happen. Okay, more information about how our bodies and the entire world will go through the dimensional shift process, and it will be undetected by those around who do not make the shift or change. So our bodies and everything around us are now increasing their vibratory rate and adjusting to a new frequency. Every cell of the body begins to vibrate at such a fast rate that it's turning into light. And when this begins, the temperature of the body increases and the body starts to glow with light. So when every cell is vibrating at a high rate, you will disappear literally from normal vision and move into a higher dimensional reality. This is because the body has moved in vibration beyond the third dimension and is now vibrating on a much higher dimensional level. This then means that you will not go through the death process, as you will then have a light body. Aging will no longer exist for you as well, and you will have stepped into the next dimensional reality. You can then access the next stage of spiritual evolution. The council has emphasized that this has happened down through time to certain individuals and small groups of people, but what makes it unique now is that it will be the first time that an entire planet will make the shift into another dimension. This will be the new earth and the new world. This is described in the Bible as the new heaven and the new earth. The ones who are not ready will be left behind, just as it says in the Bible, to continue to live out their karma. They will not even be aware that anything has happened. Those who have not become enlightened will have to return to another, denser planet that is still involved with negativity to work out their karma. They will not be allowed to come to the new earth because their vibration will not match. The Earth is a living being. She has been evolving just as we are, albeit at a much slower rate. She is now preparing to move into her next incarnation, which will happen when she raises her vibrations and frequencies to take her into another higher dimension. She has tolerated humans living on her since the beginning, and it doesn't matter to her whether we go with her or not. She is moving regardless, and if we choose to go, it is our decision. We have created such a nuisance that she would rather we didn't even go with her. We are like fleas on a dog, and it is obvious that we have caused great damage and distress to this beautiful planet. So if we want to go with her on this next adventure, then we have to make the changes in ourselves. Our frequency and vibration must be raised, or we will be left behind. Okay, and then this client talks about how she literally saw the Earth being viewed from outer space as like splitting off into two, and the new Earth was like glowing with an aura, a much brighter aura than the one that we have now on Earth, and the old Earth was like darker. And then also those who had raised their frequency and vibration would ascend into the new Earth as it evolved and lifted into a different dimension, thus becoming invisible to the ones left behind. There have been several things about this concept that bothered me. I always like to have the answers, I guess because of my great curiosity. I felt that there were gaps or holes that needed to be filled, pieces that needed to be explained. Someone in the audience asked a question about how this could happen, and those on one Earth not be aware of what was happening on the other one. Suddenly, I had a revelation. A thought came to me that might be the glimmering of an understandable explanation. I don't know why my eyes are getting watery. It is always wise to trust these flashes of intuition and knowledge because often they are coming from our guides. In this case, it might have been coming from the same source that gives me all of the information through my clients. I suddenly said, a possible explanation just came to me. Earlier in the lecture, I had talked briefly about the theory of parallel universes and lives that are created by our thoughts and decisions. In book 1, I wrote about a theory I had never heard of, and that gave me a headache trying to understand. In brief, it says that anytime an individual has to make a decision, they usually have more than one choice. This is what I call coming to a crossroads. They have to decide to go one way or another. It could be a decision about a marriage, a divorce, a job, anything. They ponder each choice and put a great deal of energy into deciding which path to take. Then they make the decision. We have all experienced these crossroads. We know that had we chosen to go the other path, our lives would be totally different. We decide to go one direction, but what happens to the energy that we have sent into the other decision that was not chosen? Well, it also becomes a reality. Another universe or dimension is instantly created to act out the other decision, and another you is also created to be the player in that scenario. This was the simple explanation because it did not only happen, it does not only happen when we are faced by major decisions. It can happen each and every time we are faced with choices, no matter how big or small. So each time we make a decision, another universe or dimension is instantly created so the other choice can also become a reality, and another you splits off to play that part. They are all just as real as the present life that we are focused on right now. We are just not aware of these other parts of us, and it's wise that we're not. Our human minds would just never be able to handle it all. And I was told that the problem is not with the brain, it's actually with the mind. There are simply no concepts within our human mind to allow us to comprehend all the complexities of it. That is why we will never be allowed to have all the answers. And there is no way we could understand. So they, in their wisdom, choose what small pieces to give us during this time of awakening, so we will have some expanded information. And as our minds expand to encompass new ideas and theories, they will give us some even more morsels. I personally am grateful for the bits and pieces I'm being given. It shows that our minds are awakening. This is the only way we are going to be able to handle the concept of our earth-changing frequency and vibration in order to shift into a different dimension. The information I am receiving now, I could never have even begun to understand when I started my work over 30 years ago, so I know I have grown, and I can see this reflected in the books. Okay. The revelation that came to me during the lecture in Chicago was that perhaps the reason the people on each Earth will not be aware of each other and what is happening might be that it will be similar to the concept of the creation of parallel universes and dimensions. So only on a much greater scale, if we are not aware of these other parts of ourselves acting out these other decisions that we have created by the energy we have focused on them, then the people on the two Earths would be unaware of each other. So one Earth would be going in the direction of one decision or choice, and the other Earth would be going in another direction. So each acting out an alternate decision. And it is up to the people on Earth at the present time to each make their personal decision of which path they want to follow. The energy is present and becoming stronger. It is physically affecting our bodies. I'm feeling it. Our own frequency and vibration is being altered, but I believe it is still up to us what we decide which Earth we gravitate towards because of our free will. The main difference here is that they said this has never happened on such a grand scale before. Never in the history of the universe has an entire planet changed its frequency and vibration to shift into another dimension. That is why it is said to be the greatest show in the universe, and everyone from many planets and galaxies and dimensions are watching to see what is going to happen. Are we going to be able to do it? Are we going to be able to pull it off? The train is leaving the station. It is taking us to a great adventure that has never been experienced on this scale before. It is up to each individual whether they get on board or remain standing on the platform. The volunteers who have fulfilled their purpose are ready to go home. All aboard, and remember, you are never alone. So that was the 3 waves of volunteers and the new Earth. And let's do everything that we can to finally help more people shift into this new reality. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be nothing but amazingness and good energy, and there's just like noises going on that never happened. So something's going on vibrationally right now. It's going to be so fun. Everything's just going to be like a paradise, and there's going to be no death. We'll choose when to go to another, I guess, incarnation, because that's how a lot of higher dimensionals do it. They don't die. They actually just choose when they want to change, I guess, modalities or incarnations, which I think is amazing. And I don't know what I'm going to read now, but I do want to read more Dolores Cannon books later. Probably not this year, maybe next year, because I already have 2 more books that I want to read that are not related to any of this. But I don't know how much of a break I'm going to take from posting on YouTube, but for now that is it with the Dolores Cannon stuff and the Ascension stuff for now. Yeah, so I recommend just go reading the Convoluted Universe series, read the Custodians, which I consider part of the Convoluted Universe series, read the 3 Waves Volunteers and the New Earth. They're all very similar information, but the main message is to spread more love, spread more kindness. You're in control of your own body more than you know. Your mind has more power and potential than you can even imagine. There are so many forces and extra dimensional beings and light bodies that are helping us all the time, and there's just so many different kinds of energies that are being sent to the earth to help us. And we just know that the light is going to win, and the dark has been ruling this planet for too long, and it's just trying to take way too much control, and it's just like insane. And I don't know if you can tell, but the darkness has definitely tried to take control of the earth for far too long, and it's not going to work. We are going to take them down. And I know, like, balance of like light and dark, why do you want just like light to win? But supposedly in the new earth it will be balanced out, where everyone has equal amounts of light and dark, so it's not just light. But the darkness won't be able to take control, if that makes sense, like they do here. It's just going to be a completely different paradigm and like a completely different perception of what is real and our reality. It's just going to completely change, and I am so ready for it. And I heard that this December 21st, 2020, there's going to be a huge vortex or portal that comes through. So it's going to be extremely powerful, and to make sure you have your correct intention set for the following year and for the current moment as well, and just nothing but good vibrations and being in a good space, being calm, not focusing on chaos energy or chaotic emotions or chaotic feelings or anything that's like negative, because anything that you feel around that time, just now, as of now as well, but especially during like a portal or a vortex opening, it amplifies it like tenfold. So be careful with your intentions, make them high vibrational, make them in harmony with your alignment with your vibration. I don't know how to say that. There's like a phrase, in harmonic convergence or something with yourself. Elizabeth April says it better. I don't know how to say it. I forgot the phrase that she says. But anyways, I love you guys. Spread love. Spread this message. And just have an amazing rest of your year. I don't know if I'm going to post before the year ends or not, but have an amazing rest of your year. Don't focus on, I'm just like rambling now. Don't focus on the negativity of the news or anyone else. Focus on good things and positive things. And it's not being selfish that you're not focusing on the negative things. The negative things will work themselves out. They will. You just don't believe they will, so you focus on it, but they will. Things that need to be fixed will be fixed on their own. Don't explain to me how. Call me crazy, I don't care, but they will be fixed. You don't have to worry about it. You focus on yourself and focus on being in a high state of vibration and frequency. Your vibrations will match the 5D frequency, and I believe that you will know when you're finally there. And I will see you there, because I know I am going to be there. I am not going to be left behind. I already dissolved all my karma and all my ties with anybody. I forgave everybody. It's like a new slate, new me, new year, new me. But yes, I think that's all I have to say. So yeah, love you guys, and this ascension was amazing. This ascension was so much fun, and just enjoy the journey. It can be painful at times, but it's all gonna work out. It all works out for the best in the end. It really does. Please believe that, and it will. Bye.